Today we're talking about a mix of equity, debt and gold, and this fund has actually managed to do well in the last 1 year. Let's bring in Dhirendra Kumar, the CEO of Value Research. Dhirendra, the fund, of course, that I'm talking about is a quantum multi-asset fund. It was launched last year, so it's a fairly young fund. It's been a top performer, 7.24% returns since launch. In a market like this, that's impressive. Is that because it mixes different asset classes in one fund?
There are quite a few multi-asset funds, and most of them are spreading the money across equity, debt, as well as gold. And these kind of funds, if you look at the range, the fund which actually get tilted towards gold, or they are more into fixed income. But here is the fund which has actually followed a fairly conservative strategy with its equity allocation, so it has managed the downside better. It has a very nominal position in gold, and this asset allocation calls for this fund has been just right, and that is driving its performance.
So then, Dhirendra, would you recommend investors look at this fund at this point?
I normally don't recommend such a fund to investors, because when there is a case for an equity, there is case for a bond fund, and there is case for various kind of bond fund for their appropriateness. Also, there could be a case for a hybrid fund like a balanced fund or a MIP, which has a defined allocation. My sense is that something which is very fluid, something which is very flexible. These kind of funds don't have credible history over a long period of time, because taking an asset call, most fund managers they have not succeeded with such a strategy over a long period of time. So I would say that, and also looking at it from the utility point of view, where should an investor slot these funds for their own needs? I don't know exactly. So these funds are avoidable.
All right, avoid those funds. We have a question from a viewer. Jiten has written in. He invested 2 lakh rupees in the Reliance floating rate fund 6 months ago. He tells us he put this money aside to invest it in a car and a home when he narrowed down on his choice. He wants to move this money now for the next 3 to 6 months, Dhirendra, until he decides where he wants to buy that home. What would you recommend he does? What would be a good fund to invest in for 6 months?
I would say that he is just in the right kind of fund. This is actually a short-term bond fund, and going by the maturity profile of this fund today, it is just the right fund even for 3 to 6 months time frame. So while he is looking for his house and trying to choose the car, he should remain invested in this fund itself.
All right, so you're in the perfect fund for the next 6 months. Dhirendra, thank you so much for answering our questions on the Personal Finance Corner today. If you have a question for Dhirendra, write to us. Email ID is on your screen right now.